If you're lucky enough to have 1 or 2-year-old siblings at your home, then this may be what you have seen before. At some certain moments, the baby started to lick their little hand or stare at somewhere for a long time. Well, if not, then you may experience this when you were very young. You stood on a square, looking up at the crystal blue sky in order to find out how the patterns of clouds were changing. Or at some moments, you attempted to speculate the mystery of the universe through a glimpse of the moon in the telescope. Well, this series of actions, in my mind, is all defined as curiosity. So, how can we define curiosity? Or, in another way, what is curiosity? Well, the dictionary told us that curiosity is the desire to know about something. As students, especially Chinese students, we're constantly urged to study hard. Some of us may have an aim, either practical or ambitious. You may struggle for a chance of entering your dream universities or colleges, or you may want to get a job with considerable salaries. Or otherwise, you may consider yourself as a future Superman who will save the universe. Or your wish could be quite simple: study for passing an exam. However, every time you hurry figuring out a purpose, do you ask yourself if you still have the initial passion for a pure, noble world? If somebody asks me what real beautiful mind is, I think I would like to illustrate it as the mind that holds the great curiosity and perceptions about the world, just like that of a newborn baby. March 14th of 2018. It was a normal Wednesday, and I could clearly remember that I was sitting on a school bus, regretting about my test scores and looking through the window, when suddenly the radio started to broadcast the news that shocked the Milky Way, saying that one of the greatest contemporary physicists in the world, Stephen William Hawking, has died. Stephen Hawking, such a brilliant name. It reminded me of the time when I saw him on a TV series called The Big Bang Theory. He was such an interesting person. What's more, his breadth of knowledge has filled human beings with admiration. He's also the man who arouses my interest in astronomy and physics by writing digestible books for teenagers like A Brief History of Time. So if we compare naivety and curiosity as a bunch of torches, then Mr. Hawking must be the man who lit up the darkness around us. In his way pursuing truth, Mr. Hawking has turned his life from a constant struggle for survival to a perseverant search for questions. Asking what's going on and why do we do things we do has become golden rule for him. During one of his speeches, this man mentioned that remember to look up at the stars, not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. Well, if you think that curiosity is an exclusive characteristic that only belongs to those geniuses, then my father and other men will prove to all of you that it is absolutely wrong. Ever since I was very young, I remember there were many discussions between my father and I about some strange ideas, because he was always talking about in galaxy wars, the invasion of aliens, and even the modification of molecules. Every time I'm staying with him, the feeling was like reading a science fiction or like traveling about the outer space. And once, when he came back home from his company, he excitedly told me that there was a question that confused him all his way home. And the question is, what is time? Yes, you're right. It is the concept, the time. And at that time, I was very shocked. And what's more, he told me that he was driving while thinking this. And I was thinking that, thank God, no accident happened. Well, this may seem somehow to be a very silly question, but at that time, the confusion in my father's face made me think that he must be the most lovely daddy in the whole world. Well, curiosity gives us a glow of satisfaction after digging out the answer about nature and society. Sometimes we say that the sign of getting old is not the increase of crow's feet. It is when you become passive and label everything as boring stuffs. Actually, life can be just an adventure. And it is the best time ever in history to be a curious person because we own one of the most capable computers in our mind available to use. Curiosity does not and will never kill the cat. So finally, I would like to end up my speech with the sentence, remember to look up at the stars, not down at your feet. Be curious. Thank you.